This is the story of our pretty protagonist. At first, she tries her best to fit into this strange, beautiful world, but after dying tragically not once, but twice, she decides she's had enough of that nonsense. Now, she's doing things her way to fulfill her dream. And what a dream it is. A man is holding her hand, whispering that soon, she will become part of the Veneers family. Honestly, it feels like she's living in a literal dream. A priest stands at the altar, asking if Abella takes Gregory as her lawfully wedded husband, to love him until the end. Gregory, ever the charming groom, turns to her and says she needs to answer. This is, after all, the final checkpoint where the two will officially become a real couple. And what does our lovely Abella do? She declares loudly, dramatically, that she's truly happy. This whole scene feels so much like a dream to her that she can hardly believe it. Her rebirth, her destiny, all of it converging at this single critical moment. Then bam! She punches him. Yes, she really throws a punch. And not just a playful tap. No, Gregory goes flying like a swan shot out of the sky, and Abella is visibly pleased with the results. Gregory's mom, meanwhile, starts acting like he's about to faint from sheer shock. The crowd gasps. The guests begin whispering to each other, has Abella completely lost her mind? Abella doesn't wait for them to come to a consensus. She removes her veil with flair and announces that the engagement is off. That's right, it's time to officially commence the disengagement ceremony. Chaos descends. The entire hall erupts into a mess. But you all must be wondering, how did we get here? Surely, you've guessed by now that Abella's first life was set in the modern world. She was a pitiful office worker. One of those poor souls constantly working late, sometimes until 2 in the morning. She lived life in irregular hours, surviving on caffeine and quiet despair. Every day was just another round of sleeping in the office and heading home at dawn like a corporate vampire. The only things she learned from her job were how to laugh at her boss's terrible jokes and how to flatter the most demanding customers. Not exactly fulfilling. There were nights she cried, wondering if this was really how a person was supposed to live. She needed a pick-me-up. Still, she held on to one bright dream, opening a dessert shop. That dream kept her alive. She loved baking so much that she even took cooking classes in the middle of her chaotic schedule. But now, as Abella, she finds herself slamming doors and lamenting how unfair life is. Someone up there must have felt sorry for her, because her second life takes a sharp turn. She is reborn as the Lady of House Travis, a world of grand mansions, silk sheets, and aristocratic parents. No more worrying about rent or utility bills. This life is a complete upgrade. Now, about the downside, her mirror reminds her that today, she's supposed to meet Marquis Veneers. She's not excited. In this classical setting, where bizarre arranged marriages are still in fashion, she's expected to act like a dutiful lady and greet her future mother-in-law. Lovely. Initially, she hates the idea of marrying someone she's never met. She even considers running away with the family jewels. But then her soon-to-be husband enters the picture, and he's so outrageously good-looking that she actually feels things. Suddenly, she finds herself unexpectedly happy. This wasn't in the script of her modern world sleep-deprived dream. But hey, if she can bag a gorgeous husband, maybe arranged marriage isn't so bad after all. As the coachman announces their arrival, she realizes this is already her third time visiting the Veneers estate. The servants greet her like she's a celebrity on a red carpet. The gala is in full swing inside. Marquis Veneers announces Abella's presence, and Abella greets Anna, her future mother-in-law. Anna, ever the pleasant storm cloud, tells her to sit. With a smile that feels like a slap, Anna directs her to a couch that's so overstuffed with cushions, it feels like a trap. Anna's special talent? Screwing people over with that well-practiced smile. She stares at Abella like they're already in a duel. Abella plays along. Anna reminds her that a proper daughter-in-law should visit her in-laws every day. Abella nods like an obedient lamb, though inside she's wondering if Anna has lost her mind. Does this woman not realize how far the distance is? Anna, of course, believes she's doing Abella a favor and says as much. Abella nods again, smiling like she's thrilled to death. Seriously, how did someone like Anna give birth to a man like Gregory? It's one of the great mysteries of this world, right up there with the lost city of Atlantis. Still, she's willing to put up with Anna's tantrums. Why? Because Gregory is really, really handsome. And this girl has a weakness for pretty faces. Putting on a fake smile so wide it threatens to dislodge her teeth, Abella asks if Anna has something to say. Turns out, yes, Anna dragged her all the way here just to remind her to take good care of her precious son. Abella be like, ma'am, just throw a blank check and I'll be gone. Because noble women must support their husbands, of course. Before Abella can roll her eyes, the coachman bursts into the room looking frantic and covered in dust. He blurts out that something terrible has happened. The Travis Manor is on fire. Abella's eyes widen. Denial sets in. Because of course it is. Just another normal day in the life of Abella. Now she's sitting in the funeral hall, looking like a sad little NPC in a cutscene, while people whisper behind their hands. But they're not just pitying her because her parents are gone. No, the universe decided to double down. The entire family fortune? Wiped out. Gone like someone rage quit life and deleted her save file. And Abella, sitting there in the middle of all this pity storm, just stares into the void thinking why any of this is her business. Like, why does the universe have to drag her into this mess? She suddenly bolts out of there because there's absolutely no way she's letting her life roll credits like this. No ma'am. Whatever the world is cooking up, she's going to find her way through it. She slams open a door like she owns the mansion, and standing right there is Gregory, looking like the cover model of some tragic romance novel. She flings herself at him like a tornado of emotions, wrapping him in a hug. She tells him she's got nowhere to go, nowhere to land, and honestly, she means it. She's got no plan B, just vibes and vibes alone. And Gregory? Well, he looks like he gets it. He tells her something that sounds comforting and slightly dramatic, and apparently, they're already engaged. A fun little plot point she just now remembers. Then, in what can only be described as chaotic good energy, he proposes right there. Abella, stunned and sparkly-eyed, clutches him tighter. She's thinking not only is this man stupidly handsome, but he's also sweet-like, actually kind. A rare combo in this economy. Their wedding happens almost suspiciously fast. The drama isn't even cold yet she's married. Abella feels like she's in a romance arc now. Her savior, her fairy tale. She genuinely believes Gregory might be the best thing that ever happened to her. She's sure the universe is finally tossing her a win. A bright future feels totally possible. But no! Life is not done throwing curveballs. Because now she finds herself face to face with a girl who isn't introduced in any previous episodes. Abella's confused like, who even is this? Gregory casually drops that this is his older sister. She apparently popped back into the country recently, no warning, just vibes. Abella, ever the polite wife, greets her with a smile and a warm welcome, but there's a tiny red flag flapping in the wind. Gregory never said anything about having a sister. Not even once. Which is weird, right? Kelly the sister doesn't exactly radiate sunshine. She gives off this vibe like she's doing a press smile for the cameras. She tells Abella she's welcome in the family, says all the right things, but it lands with all the warmth of a soggy handshake. Abella thanks her, but deep down, she's getting the sense that Kelly's smile is just for show. The woman turns on her heel and floats away like she's in a villain reveal scene. Abella stands there blinking, wondering if she accidentally insulted her without realizing it. Gregory, of course, brushes it off. He says something soft about Kelly probably just being tired, and then trots off behind her like a loyal puppy. Abella tries to make peace with it. Maybe Kelly's just in her feels about missing her brother's wedding. That would make anyone cranky. She tells herself it's fine. Except, that's not even the beginning of the storm. Later, at this fancy family gathering, Abella watches as Kelly eats from Gregory's plate like it's totally normal behavior. Like, ma'am? The audacity. She's doing it with a sweet little smile while Gregory's not even looking. It's all so suspiciously perfect. And Abella is standing there, frozen, because she's absolutely sure that Kelly is doing this just for her to see. It's giving passive-aggressive power move. When Abella mentions very politely, of course, that Kelly seems to be taking advantage of Gregory's kindness, he just waves it off like it's not that deep. He even says he'll just get someone else to bring him another plate. And that's when Abella snaps a little. She realizes she's in competition with her sister-in-law, and she didn't even sign up for the tournament. She storms out, slamming a door like she's in episode 10 of a melodrama, muttering to herself about how she doesn't get why Kelly's acting like she owns the place. Like, she's Gregory's wife, okay? Not some temporary guest. And she's fully spiraling now, ranting to her friend like she's unloading all her trauma into a vent session. She can't believe they even went horse riding without her. She literally gave Gregory a whole hint, a whole emotional breadcrumb trail about how she was upset, and the man didn't even blink. He's too busy playing family bonding simulator with his sister. Her friend, a certified real one named Pansy, hits her with the brutal truth: she can just get a divorce. Like, take the money, secure the alimony bag, and go abroad. reinvent herself, just like Kelly did. And Abella's brain short-circuits for a second because wait, that's not the worst idea she's heard. She's suddenly very thankful Pansy exists. Honestly, if Pansy wasn't around, she might have combusted from sheer rage by now. Pansy is more than a friend, she's a whole emotional support system. She even asks if Abella made the dessert they're eating. Abella nods, and her mind drifts. It feels like just yesterday she was crying to Pansy about how wrecked her life is, and now here she is married, confused, and confessing she might actually love Gregory. And worst of all, she's starting to suspect that Gregory somehow knows exactly how she feels. That betrayal hits hard. Suddenly, Abella is running, crying, muttering about how cursed this entire household is. She slams another door, her soul practically screaming. She can't take it anymore. Not only does she have a mother-in-law who acts like she's running a boot camp, but now she's got a sister-in-law who treats her like a peasant trying to crash the royal ball. And to top it all off, her friend Pansy is now added to the betrayal list. She's officially on rage mode. Abella is fuming, no, blazing. She is ready to go full scorched earth. If these people want drama, they better buckle up, because she is absolutely going to take revenge on all of them. This is what Abella decides, revenge. Full-on villain arc energy. But plot twist, on her way to kickstart vengeance, she dies. Yep. Again. Second death unlocked. Carriage accident, because of course it is. Tragic? Yes. Ironic? Absolutely. But maybe, just maybe, the universe decided to stop bullying her for 5 minutes, because this time rebirth hits different. The timing? Immaculate. Perfectly placed, like it was plotted by a drama screenwriter who finally decided to root for her. Now, she's out here vibing with a second chance, fully ready to live her best life on her terms. The mansion? Burnt to crispy ash. But she's standing looking at what little remains, just a few jewels and her ride-or-die maid, Belle. Abella stares at the glittering rocks and casually tells Belle that these aren't just shiny rocks, they're weapons of rebirth. They're going to start a business. Bold? Yes. Chaotic? Even more. This is it. These two queens are about to try surviving the harsh world economy with a handful of accessories and stubborn ambition. And after spending several days in brainstorming mode, Abella finally has her eureka moment. A dessert shop. That's the plan. Belle is immediately into it. After all, if there's one thing Abella's good at, it's making desserts that slap. The desserts in this medieval flavorless land? Basic. Sad. Bland. Like, who approved this nonsense? So Abella's convinced her modern-day dessert skills are about to launch them straight into sweet tooth stardom. She tells Belle to get moving because they're building an empire one cupcake at a time. All set and ready to rise like cake in the oven, Abella turns to Belle and asks what she thinks of the setup. Belle, in classic supportive BFF fashion, gives her the go. The vibe is more assassin guild than bakery, but they're rolling with it. Sure, the shop looks like a low-budget fantasy tavern, but Abella is thriving on pure optimism and frosting. Belle is hopeful too. She's got that this might actually work energy. And now, Abella finally gets to live the life she wants, a little messy, a lot of work, but entirely hers. Between late-night renovations, flower explosions, and surviving with pennies, they pull it off. The hope is that this tiny sugar sanctuary might actually blow up. But just as she starts to breathe in the scent of success, Abella hears it. Trash talk. Some local mean girls are out there gossiping hard, saying she's ungrateful and how she had the audacity to punch Gregory in the face after he accepted her when no one else would. The audacity. Like she's not the main character in her own pain arc. But Abella? She's seen worse. Her rep's already a dumpster fire, one more spark won't burn it further. She's spent a lifetime serving difficult people and dealing with high-maintenance humans. She's built for this. Everything's finally ready. And then the bell rings. Their first customer walks in. Abella shifts into full elegant customer dealer mode, channeling that boss energy. But plot twist, her first customer is none other than her ex-BFF, Pansy. Yep, that Pansy. Abella blinks like she just saw her ex liking her Insta story. Pansy walks in, all love and light, fake shocked like she just discovered gravity. She's acting like she's the fairy godmother of small business support. Abella, internally screaming, knows she needs to cut this tie ASAP. But then, a small, adorable child appears beside Pansy. A walking cinnamon roll. Turns out, it's her son. Her son. Like Pansy has a whole kid and she's still out here being messy? Abella is internally combusting. The boy greets her like a little prince and Abella melts instantly. He's the opposite of Pansy, sweet, polite, and just edible level cute. She smiles at the kid, introducing herself like she's hosting a magical tea party. Pansy, meanwhile, can't help herself and drops a backhanded comment like it's hot tea. Abella must be real stupid if she gave up Gregory and a comfortable life for a bakery. This woman really came into a dessert shop to dish shade and stale opinions. Pansy then goes off, full office worker who's had one coffee too many mode, saying she just can't understand why Abella didn't just marry up and live easy. Like Gregory wasn't the golden ticket. She accuses Abella of rejecting him just because she could. Then drags the shop for being tiny and in a back alley like it's a pop-up dungeon. Abella clenches her hands, mentally yeeting a whisk across the room. But she stays composed, cool and spicy. She calmly agrees that yeah, maybe the shop's small. But since Pansy seems to have so much free time, especially with her husband always hanging out with the Baroness, maybe she'd like to help bring in some customers? Checkmate. Pansy's face morphs into an angry emoji in real time. Pansy shouts, cackling that it's complete nonsense. But Abella only smirks. Oh, it's true, she saw it with her own eyes. Her husband, hand in hand with that woman, strolling sweetly past her just as she was opening her shop. They were so close, so painfully close, that for a second, she mistook the woman for the Baroness herself. Pansy, seething with indignation, storms out of the cafe, vowing dramatically that she'll be back to prove Abella wrong. The door slams behind her with a flourish. Honestly, Abella feels pretty good about all of this. Belle, the loyal sidekick, leans over and asks if it's really true her husband's having an affair. Abella confirms it without hesitation. She's not someone who would make up stories out of thin air. Besides, in her previous life, they got divorced by the end of that same year. She's just cutting the drama early this time. She's closing up the display case, thinking maybe she's officially cut ties with Pansy for good until she sees a crying Kalik. Ah, he is such a cutie patootie. Abella can't believe it. What kind of mother leaves her child behind like a forgotten umbrella? The kid is really cute too, which just makes it worse. Unfortunately, this means she's going to have to see Pansy's ridiculous face again someday. Sigh. While Belle tries to comfort Kalik, Abella kneels beside him, asking the eternal question, why does everything keep happening to her? She pats his head and tells him that his mom will be back soon. Kalik, ever the innocent soul, asks when. Abella dodges like a pro, telling him to eat the cookies and wait. She even urges him to take a bite. After all, he's probably never had anything this good in his entire life. As expected, the kid takes one bite and lights up like a Christmas tree. Abella, smug and victorious, tells him it's homemade egg tart. She promises to make him something even better next time, but only if he agrees to call her Abella. Smiling brightly, Kalik calls her that without hesitation. Abella is floored. How can someone so sweet, kind, and clearly intelligent be Pansy's child? It's another mystery of the universe. Then ding dong. The doorbell rings. Abella hopes it's Pansy coming back to pick up her poor son. But no! It's Gregory. He's holding a bouquet of flowers, and Abella is immediately, deeply, thoroughly disgusted. That man has some nerve. The so-called cutie tries to act all innocent, asking what he did wrong, and if she had just told him, maybe he could have fixed it before she smashed his face like a sad potato. He even pouts a little. Abella thinks it's so unfair. He's still as handsome as ever. Ugh. She can't just yell at him about how he ruined her life in a whole other timeline, so instead, she tells him to listen up. There's no use showing up here like this. Her mother hates her, she says, and honestly, she can't keep living in such a suffocating environment. Gregory looks as if he's about to cry. Very soapy. Very tragic. Abella makes herself perfectly clear, forget about her and go live your life. But of course, he insists he needs to know why. He can't just leave without an explanation. Cue the drama. Suddenly, Kalik darts forward like a knight in a child-sized hoodie, standing protectively in front of Abella. Even Belle joins the resistance, telling Gregory to stop bothering Abelka. And just like that, everyone's on Team Abella. Poor Gregory is kicked off the ship like the sad potato he is. Abella takes the flowers anyway, no sense wasting a good bouquet, and slams the door. Inside, she's beaming. Finally, he's gone. She's about to say something smug when she hears familiar screeching outside. It's Pansy, asking Gregory loudly what on earth he's doing in such a shabby place. Gregory, who clearly has no functional brain cells left, tells her he came to meet Abella. Pansy sidles up to him, very close, and tells him not to worry, it'll be fine. Gregory, the spineless wonder, thanks her. Abella is mortified. She throws open the door and yells at Pansy to come get her child. Kalik runs over to Pansy like a hopeful puppy. Pansy immediately asks if he's hurt and apologizes for leaving him in such a terrible place. Abella notes coldly that the only reason Kalik still loves her is because she's his mom. Biology. Nothing more. After all this, Abella is far too exhausted to even think about selling anything. Belle, ever the comedic relief, points out that they didn't sell a single thing today, they just gave out free desserts to one kid. Abella shrugs. It's fine. Let's call it publicity. They agree to sell desserts again tomorrow. But even Belle can't believe how bad the sales have been. Abella starts to wonder what if Gregory's delightful mother has been sabotaging their business from behind the scenes? She thought pouring her heart into pastries would help her cafe grow, but now she's considering offering discounts just to survive. Still, she suggests they go out for a walk to clear their heads. But just then a new customer walks in. A woman and her daughter. The woman asks if they have any egg tarts. Abella, instantly perky, says yes. And each tart is 500 crank. They buy them. Just like that. Abella watches them leave and thinks maybe kids really do like her desserts. Then comes another customer. And another. One by one, her cafe starts to fill up. A buzz of chatter, smiles, and tarts in happy hands. Abella stands behind the counter, blinking. What on earth just happened? She understands that it must be Kalik, and he must have shared his cookies with the other children. That, indeed, was great advertising, like a fairy godmother. Abella asks the kids what they do after eating the sweets. All the children say that they brush their teeth. Then, she bids them farewell. That moment feels like icing on the top. Both Belle and Abella are really happy. It looks like they've made quite the dollars. Someone mentions a shop they'd never seen before. The mysterious man, the one, says it's quite interesting. The cafe is bustling again the next day with noble wives and their children coming to visit. Queens are making dollars again. Abella says to Belle that she did a good job and that this is enough for today, so they should rest up. But then she notices that Belle is crying. She asks Belle, worried, why she is crying. Belle replies that she thought they wouldn't be able to sell anything, but now she's relieved to see they've sold so well. Abella smiles, remembering she had already promised to take care of the two of them. Belle hugs Abella, promising to work even harder. Just then, another customer arrives. Abella says they are closed for the day. It's the mysterious guy. He asks if that's really the case, revealing his face and saying that he heard they sell really good desserts. Abella, looking at him, wonders who he is. She has never seen him here before, and she doesn't know which family he belongs to. But he is drop-dead gorgeous. Abella tells him that they're sold out right now, but she will give him free desserts the next time he comes. The mysterious man says he will remember this and tells her not to forget him next time. He bids them goodbye, and as soon as he leaves, Abella turns to Belle, asking if she has seen him before in the neighborhood. Both of them, at the same time, say that he is really handsome. They laugh for thinking the same thing. A few days later in the cafe, someone asks about a dessert. Belle tells her that it's strawberry pie with fresh strawberries and crimson pastry. Abella knows that Belle will be very good at this job, and they're doing quite well too. She is proud that now they are not only famous among children but also nobles. At this rate, suddenly, that mysterious guy comes back. All the nobles are in awe to see him. He goes straight to Abella, reminding her that she said she would give him free desserts. Abella says she remembers it well and asks whether he prefers something sour or sweet so she can pack it up for him. A lady whispers that this guy doesn't seem to be from their neighborhood and no one seems to know about his status. Someone speculates that he might be a prince from a country. Another girl questions that why would a prince be walking alone, homeless, on the streets like this? The mysterious man smells the macarons and says they are cute. Abella tells him that he can choose another flavor and design too. They come in great variety, and one bite will fill his mouth with sweetness. Deep down, she wonders from where he has come. He could have asked his servant to get it for him, yet he came all the way here by himself. It seems like he's a huge fan of desserts. She tells him that she will give the set for free. He grins and turns back, asking the ladies if they got what they wanted. Bewitched by his alarming beauty, they all say yes. He then says that he will buy all the remaining desserts she has. This shocks Abella greatly. All the ladies start thinking that he must be really rich. No wonder his clothes are so fine. She tells Belle to hurriedly start packing everything because they've just hit a jackpot, and now he's become their VIP. This rich man asks them to put it in the carriage. Abella says that he bought all this without even tasting anything, so he must really have a sweet tooth. He grins and says that, actually, he bought it all because he thought it would be best to learn business from her. He apologizes for the late introduction and says that he's opening a store next door. His name is Amand. So, this guy is not their VIP customer but their VIP competitor. I literally got an emotional damage here, not gonna lie. Abella stares, baffled. Who even is this man? She doesn't know his last name, not even the basics. And now, out of nowhere, he's here, claiming to open a shop. For the sake of maintaining a good image, she shakes his hand anyway and introduces herself. She asks, very pointedly, if he's really planning to run a store here starting tomorrow. Amand, that's his name apparently, assures her that he's going to run something completely different from her, which, for a moment, gives Abella a flicker of relief. Then he asks her if she knows about coffee. Coffee. Belle, who is, very confusingly, also Abella, it depends on how annoyed she is, acts like she's never heard of it before. But how could she not know about coffee? In all her past lives, yes, plural, she's practically lived inside coffee shops. She's been addicted to the stuff. And now this random man wants to open a coffee shop next door? Absolutely not the time to admire his looks, which, for the record, are very distracting. Her career is on the line. Unlike her sweet shop, his place will have actual seating, like a place to relax. Unfair advantage, much? And worse, he's serving coffee as if it's just some famous little dessert. Not to mention, it's cheaper. And now that there's a good-looking guy involved, no one will care even if he pours hot water in a cup and calls it Americano. This is bad. Very bad. She doesn't know about the children, but she knows the noble ladies will flock to his shop like moths to a scented candle. In frustration, she slams her desk. How dare he come here and try to snatch away her customers like that? She's not going to sit around and let some Amand or Amand, or whatever his name is, walk all over her. If it's war he wants, it's war he'll get. Meanwhile, in the carriage, Derek turns to Amand, asking what all the fuss is about. Amand, with his usual serenity, tells Derek not to worry, soon he'll be the proud owner of a cafe. Derek, ever the dramatic one, questions why in the world he'd want to run such a tiny shop. All this trouble, just for rich people's idea of fun? Apparently so. The next day, trouble arrives again. Gregory. Yes, him. The persistent ex with the creepiest devotion to florals Abella has ever seen. She shuts the door in his face again. Why does he keep coming back? And now her entire shop looks like it's been attacked by a flower monster. She sighs. She never should have accepted those flowers the first time. But, oh no, now he's down on one knee. He says he misses her. Wants to hold her hand. Wants her back. He says he loves her. Abella, with the emotional range of a wet matchstick, tells him it's over. And, frankly, his dramatic behavior is making her deeply uncomfortable. But poor Gregory isn't done embarrassing himself yet. He insists that if he's made some huge mistake and he deserves a chance to fix it. Yes, Pookie's the next time someone says they wouldn't do it, oh yes, they will absolutely do it. He'll do anything. Anything. Just stop being mad at him. She would love to scream that in a previous life thank you very much he betrayed her for a girl named Pansy. But alas, she can't explain reincarnation right now. Not when she has customers. A young woman peeks in, asking if the shop is open. Abella, now trying to pretend her life is in a soap opera, welcomes her in. The woman begins admiring the sweets while Gregory just sits there. Was he invited? Absolutely not. Did he come anyway? Of course. Another lady walks in, immediately recognizing Gregory. Whispers fly. He must be here trying to get back with Abella. One lady, bold and clearly amused, walks up to him and invites him to a flower viewing event nearby. Abella watches, arms crossed, thinking, if he really liked her, he'd say no. But of course, this imbecile lights up and asks the lady about her favorite flower. Abella grits her teeth so hard it's a miracle her jaw doesn't crack. He is impossible. She orders him to leave. Now. But this stubborn fool has the nerve to say he was going to wait until she finished for the day. She doesn't just yell, she screams. She screams at him to get the hell out of her shop. May this time of men never find me, he is actually annoying and he don't even know it. The scene begins with Abella with authority as she begins Belle's advanced training in self-control. Today's topic, not being swayed. Not by charm, not by sweet gestures, and certainly not by ex-boyfriends who show up with more flowers than a botanical garden. Belle listens intently, nodding with grave determination and most importantly the handsome next-door neighbors, and just when Belle thinks the pep talk is over, Abella solemnly adds that there's one more thing she refuses to be swayed by culottes. Her expression is oddly serious. There's a brief, awkward silence as Abella wonders what century they've landed in. Then she remembers, they're in a place where women can't even wear jeans without scandalizing the public. She reasons, mostly to herself, that she's a free woman, and culottes are practical, they move well and, from afar, look like a skirt anyway. That's the sort of camouflage she needs if she's ever going to outmaneuver her competition. Okay, the next thing that she needs is apprentice. With Belle's arms still weak and her dough barely shaped, Abella knows she needs an apprentice, but the bell rings, interrupting her plans. Both turn to greet the customer with hopeful smiles, only to find it's Kalik. Abella's heart sinks faster than a deflated sponge cake. If he's here, that must mean she Pansy is nearby. But to her surprise and unfiltered joy, Kalik chirpily announces he's here with his nanny because his mother is busy. Victory, however small, tastes sweet. And then the news drops. He's brought friends. Not a couple. Not a manageable handful. A crowd. A sugar-loving, squealing crowd of children storms the cafe, each more energetic than the last. It's chaos, but the kind of chaos that makes a cash register sing. Kalik, tugging on her sleeve, expresses his gratitude, which makes Abella feel mildly heroic. He adds something that stops her cold when he grows up. He wants to make bread in her shop. She stares at him, stunned, then breaks into a rare, genuine smile and agrees, like she's just signed a future Michelin-starred baker on a 10-year contract. He hugs her with the confidence of a man who considers himself already hired. With the shop now buzzing and their morning shift completed, the two women Abella and her assistant Belle take advantage of the lunch break. A picnic is declared, and finally, they get a breath of fresh air, lungs cleared of flour dust and drama, if only for a moment. Belle mutters how sometimes she is saying ridiculous things, maybe modern memes from her past life that no one here would ever understand. She jokes that she feels like Abella is from a different country entirely. Then Belle's gaze snags on a familiar, dreaded figure. It's Abella's former mother-in-law. The tension immediately thickens like a pot of unskimmed caramel. Abella straightens up, resigned but ready. It's time to face the music. Women approach each other like two queens meeting at the border of disputed lands. Abella, trying to stay composed, asks the reason for this surprise visit. Anna, the ex-mother-in-law, smirks as though she's rehearsed this moment in front of a mirror. She comments on how Abella seems to be living quite the enjoyable life, especially after so heartlessly leaving her precious son. Abella, not missing a beat, replies that yes, life has never been better. All thanks to a certain adorable former mother-in-law. In fact, that lands like a slap disguised as a compliment. Anna then announces that she heard about the shop and came to see it, only to find it closed. She wonders aloud if Abella's already given up. Is the business dead? Still charging, perhaps? Abella calmly replies that it's not only charging, it's running. And running well. Anna's smile twitches. She had told all her lady friends to boycott this place, yet apparently, sugar cravings have no loyalty. She was hoping to find Abella weeping over stale croissants, not glowing with sales and self-respect. Still clinging to her role as villain, Anna asks if she can come inside, clearly expecting Abella to tremble at the idea. But Abella, internally rolling her eyes, leads her in anyway, wondering what kind of scheme this fossilized tyrant has cooked up now. Once inside, Anna begins her usual round of insults. She sniffs at the shop's decor, suggests the ceiling might collapse, and asks if Abella really left her son for this. Abella, cool as a lemon sorbet, replies with a shrug. And when Anna demands a reason, Abella just smirks and says, "So what?" Anna splutters, clearly not expecting that level of indifference. Abella leans in, all sugary menace, and informs her that this is a dessert cafe. If Anna isn't here to buy anything sweet, she can kindly exit. And, to add the cherry on top, she refers to her as old lady. That alone nearly gives Anna a heart attack. She raises a hand to slap Abella into another timeline, only to be stopped dramatically by her son, Gregory, who appears out of nowhere like a half-useful side character. The scene freezes for a moment, just another regular day at the cafe. He apologizes to Abella and says that he will talk to his mother and leave. Anna gets angry, demanding how he dares to apologize to a mere girl like her. He begs his mother to step down, telling her she's making things worse for him. His mother shouts back, asking how she's making anything worse, and what's even special about this girl. Gregory says to Abella that he's leaving for now but promises that he'll come back for her. However, Abella, focused on business, says there's no reason for that as they're not going to meet anytime soon. She slams the door behind him. Now, she stretches, muttering that this whole family gets on her nerves, and they'll be too embarrassed to show their faces here for at least some days. For Abella, it's always back to needing dough. She'll forget about those losers and focus on making desserts because she needs to earn money too. She wonders if she should try a new dessert made of blueberries. They're Belle's favorite, and it's not that hard to make. It's just a shame there are no blenders in this world. But now that it's all done, she has made blueberry macarons. She eats one and feels proud of herself. She loves desserts. In fact, desserts were banned for quite some time in this country, and it hasn't been long since that ban was lifted. That's why most of the snacks around still taste like rocks. She calls Belle to come and try some. Belle eats it, thinking it tastes like lumps of sugar and that chewing raw sugar might be better, but there might be a difference. Abella is used to making this type of dessert, but the people here might find it hard to enjoy. Still, she hopes there are timers like it, because there's no way Abella can go wrong with a dessert. And just like that, everyone loves her dessert very much. The line grows longer and longer each day, and the amount of money they earn increases with it. She asks her cute customers to wait in a line, since their shop isn't that big. She says only 5 people can come inside at a time. One of the lady customers says that Abella is not only good at baking but also smart at running a business. She wishes she could have a daughter-in-law like her. But Abella has already resigned herself from that position. Belle rings the bell, announcing that they are already sold out. The remaining customers are sad. Not again. But she assures them they will get their treats next time. Now, Abella finally sits down. Another day has gone by just like that. She also gives a lot of desserts to Belle since she worked really hard. And now it's time to close the shop. Looking at the empty bakery, she thinks she did a great job. This is what true happiness looks like. She opened her own shop, makes desserts that she likes, and even earns money from it. This is how she wants to spend her whole life. She knows it's a simple and modest dream, but she understands how pure it is. She's sure someone above gave her this life so she could make desserts. The next morning, she wakes up to a loud bang at her door. Angry, she demands to know who would be here at this hour. But when she opens the window, she sees her rival, a stunning coffee shop. She goes outside. Amand welcomes her, saying that they're opening today and asks whether the place looks amazing. Abella doesn't want to, but she has to admit that it's indeed amazing. The sign is out too. It says Dragon's Breath. Amand asks what she thinks of the name since it's the only thing he came up with on his own. She says it's amazing, but internally she thinks it sucks. She can't help but think he's weird and maybe a little dumb. He might be handsome, but who puts that kind of name? Amand invites her in, saying he'll treat her to a free morning coffee. She tries to dismiss it, but he leans in, saying it will taste truly amazing and have a rare flavor. Abella thinks that his eyes are really pretty and that he's young, so trying a cup of coffee with him wouldn't hurt. But she suddenly comes to her senses. What the hell is she thinking? She has to hold herself back. She really has to, because she just can't give up that easily. Girl is really testing her self-control. She takes her leave. Amand says that if his first customer is the owner of a successful business, he's sure his business will soar. He asks if she could be his first customer, calling her Miss Patissiere. She thinks how coy of him to call her that because even after she opened her cafe, everyone called her Lady Abella or Miss. Not even regular customers ever called her Patissiere. But now she wonders how to respond to him when he says it so politely, and he has such a charming face while saying it. She knows she needs to stand her ground. But poor girl, she just can't resist handsome boys. And here she is. He says to her that even though they just opened today, he can already make anything on the menu. She looks at the menu. There are all kinds of coffee, and she's glad there are no desserts. It looks truly professional. Even the interior is fancy. The chairs are comfortable. The owner is nice. She knows for sure the noble ladies are going to love this place. Now, Amand, sitting in front of her in a quiet, romantic manner, says that he's interested to know what kind of coffee she likes. My heart, this is so cute. I can't. She says that she likes sweet things, but suddenly realizes she's behaving like a customer possessed by the owner's good looks. The thought hits her like a splash of cold water, and she straightens up quickly. Then, trying to recover, she says she'll have the tastiest thing on the menu. In her previous life, she used to add sugar even to already sugary coffee, but she bets that most of the coffees here are going to be too bitter for her. She plans to frown as much as she can after drinking it, even if he's skilled at making coffee. Her response could potentially shatter his confidence, but it would honestly be better if he didn't have the knack for it in the first place. Amon gets up and tells her that he'll be right back, but asks her not to go anywhere and not to run away like a puppy. While Abella watches him go, thinking that he's a weirdo for assuming she would just run off. Then, a thought strikes her. She's in her nightgown, her hair is a complete mess, and maybe that's why he said it. She keeps glancing his way and still can't get over how handsome he is. He looks completely different from when he first came to her shop. He was good looking back then too, but he seemed a little more suspicious and definitely arrogant for asking for free desserts. But as it turns out, he's actually quite kind. His cafe interior is really beautiful, modern, trendy, and well thought out. Even the chandelier is stunning. The only problem is the name, or so she thinks. But deep down, she knows the name isn't really the issue. The truth is, the amount of money he's poured into this place isn't even close to what she's invested in her own business, and she's probably just jealous. Amon returns carrying a cup of coffee. He's selected a vanilla latte for her. He leans forward slightly, his eyes warm as he gently tells her to enjoy it. Even his voice sounds sweet now. The aroma of the coffee is soft and inviting, like warm vanilla. She wonders if it's because he made it. Everything about it, from the scent to the foam, is perfect. She takes a sip. The moment the liquid touches her tongue, her eyes widen. It's delicious, smooth, sweet, and without even a trace of bitterness. She's never tasted a coffee like this before. She hates to admit it, but she knows that women who prefer this kind of flavor will definitely become regular customers. She tells him the coffee is really nice and good. Amon looks pleased, satisfied with her reaction. He says he knew she'd like something sweet. She can't believe he could actually tell that she was going to order something like this. Not only is he handsome, but also skilled, quick-witted, and attentive. She sighs inwardly, wondering why someone like him has to compete with her. Amon notices her sigh. She stands and thanks him for the coffee, saying she has things to take care of, so she should get going. He asks if she's really leaving this early. She nods, saying that the next time he visits her shop, she'll treat him to something amazing as well. The next day arrives, and just as Abella had predicted, all the girls are there. They arrive to have a latte, but it's clear they're more interested in Amon than the coffee. He tells them he'll be back shortly with their drinks. Ladies there start whispering among themselves, asking if this is a new place that's just opened, marveling at the stylish design and the heavenly coffee scent filling the air. Derek, who's helping behind the counter, watches the scene unfold. He asks Amon what he's going to do with all these customers, reminding him that he said he would take things slow. Amon shrugs and says it's not his fault. He never expected selling coffee would become this easy. Derek scoffs and tells him to quit pretending. Obviously, he's using high-quality ingredients, so of course people are going to love it. Amon smirks and asks if Derek really wants him to remind him what his first cup of coffee tasted like. Derek makes a face and says that's not what he meant. What he's trying to say is that using premium coffee like this is more like wasting it. But Amon disagrees, saying it's not a waste when he has plenty of it. Derek seems ready to lose it, but just then, a new customer walks in, and his demeanor changes instantly. It's as if he's ready to kiss the very floor the customer walks on. The girls continue fawning over Amon. All the attention makes him genuinely happy, and he asks them what they would like to order. One girl's order is so complicated it might as well be an atomic bomb formula. Derek looks completely confused and stressed as he starts making her coffee. He knows he can't blame anyone but himself for ending up working with a master like Amon. Meanwhile, at Abella's cafe, it's obvious they now have fewer customers than before. Even Belle seems to be gazing longingly in Amon's direction. Abella snaps her out of it, gesturing for her to get it together, but poor Belle can't seem to help herself. This makes Abella wonder if she'll need to hire someone with good looks too. But she quickly brushes off the thought. That's not really the issue. Even with just 5 people in her cafe, it feels crowded, and there's no use fretting about it. She decides instead to focus on what she does best, baking and creating new menu items. After all, she's the only one in charge of her own life. She tries to tell herself that his cafe won't stay popular for long. But no matter how hard she tries to focus, she still can't forget the taste of that vanilla latte. Then a thought strikes her. Maybe she's been thinking about this all wrong. Maybe there's nothing to worry about at all. It's only natural that coffee pairs better with desserts. In this world, most people drink tea, but in the modern world, coffee and dessert were always a perfect match. and Amand isn't selling any desserts with his drinks. That might be her opportunity. She prepares a proposal and sends it to him to review. Since she doesn't know him well personally, she knows she can't outright ask him for a collaboration. So instead, she offers to purchase his dragon coffee and sell it at her cafe. She only needs a few coffee items from his menu that pair well with her desserts, and she's willing to adjust prices based on the terms of the contract. She knows she might experience a loss in the early months, but considering how good the coffee is, it's bound to benefit her business in the long run. For Amand, there's no loss at all. It's a win-win for both of them. Amand responds after reading the proposal. He says he has no problem with her contract, but there are two things he wants. When she asks what they are, he tells her the first is for her to call him Amand. She says okay, agreeing to his first condition, then asks him what his second one is. Amand smiles and tells her that instead of just buying and selling each other's products separately, why don't they both sell the same things? He wants to sell her desserts at his cafe, and in return, she can sell his coffee at hers. He's confident that everyone will love it, but, he adds, he'll only supply a limited number of items to her cafe. He doesn't intend to flood her menu with his drinks. She raises an eyebrow and wonders what he takes her for, because clearly, this arrangement would be more beneficial to his business. After all, his cafe is much bigger and busier than hers. But before she can protest more, he hands her a sheet of paper. She's about to tell him to forget whatever she just said, but he gently urges her to take a look at it first. At first, she doesn't understand the numbers on the paper. Her eyes quickly scan down and then stop. She stares, unable to believe it. Is he really going to pay this much to her? Even if she sells only a few items a day, she won't be at a loss for at least several days. She would still be making money even if sales are slow. There's no logical reason for her to hesitate. She tells him it sounds good, more than good, actually, and she's more than happy to accept the deal. They shake hands to mark the beginning of their new business adventure. For a moment, Amand is genuinely happy to be able to shake hands with her. But when she lets go of his hand quickly, as if suddenly reminded of something, his smile dims a little. Later that night, Abella is brushing her hair in front of the mirror. Her mind drifts back to the meeting with Amand. His conditions had been so generous, so thoughtful, that she hadn't been able to stop herself from agreeing right away. But the more she thinks about it, the more it feels like she's the only one who stands to gain from this deal. It bothers her. Why would he do that? What's in it for him? She stares at her reflection, watching her face closely. She chuckles that she is quite pretty. After that day, Abella begins receiving an unusual number of love letters, most of them from male customers who must be homeless. Abella, completely unbothered, mutters something about how they could at least buy some dessert if they really wanted to help. When Belle asks if she plans on reading any of them, she had predicted, ever since signing the contract with Amand, customers flood in. Business booms. Yet, alongside the sweets and the sales comes an unexpected wave of attention, mostly from men who seem more interested in her than the pastries. Abella stays firm. She refuses to read a single letter. She tells Belle, half amused, half bitter, that if these so-called admirers truly cared, they would have been there the night her house caught fire. Where were their noble hearts then, when Travis nearly burned down the entire place? She gathers the pile of unopened letters with the intention of throwing them all away. Just as she's about to toss them into the tray marked to be destroyed without mercy, someone knocks at the door. It's a knight. She narrows her eyes. Just as she suspected, he's holding a letter. She tells him, without a blink, to drop it in the garbage pile. The knight, however, insists that she shouldn't throw this one out. But then something shiny catches her attention. Her eyes widen as they lock onto the Imperial seal stamped on the envelope. In her shock, all the other cards slip from her hands and flutter to the floor like defeated butterflies. The knight informs her that the envelope contains an invitation, an official one from the Imperial family. Belle, who's been eavesdropping like a professional nosy best friend, gasps and asks if it's really from them. Abella can barely believe it herself. The invitation is addressed to her, specifically requesting her presence at the upcoming Imperial tea party, and not just her presence, but her desserts as well. Apparently, the Empress herself has taken a liking to her sweets. And if that weren't surprising enough, the sender is none other than the Imperial Prince himself, often referred to as the Soul Sword of the Empire. His legendary performance during the Dragon War was said to be more glorious than even the Emperor's best days. He's the kind of man whose mere presence sends seasoned generals into a cold sweat. Eye contact with him is rumored to be riskier than fencing without a blade. Abella, stunned, tries to collect herself. She thinks it's an incredible opportunity, not just a tea party with nobles, but one where the emperor himself will be attending. She may be willing to skip hair wash day for many things, but this is definitely not one of them. Lady Luck, apparently, has decided to take up residence in her kitchen. The knight mentions that before they depart, they would like some egg tarts. Abella, still in disbelief, can't help but laugh. At this rate, even her oven might start demanding royal treatment. News spreads fast, and soon she's sold out of everything, even the desserts she had set aside for herself and Belle. It's almost comedic how the Imperial family, who once banned sweets entirely, are now practically begging for her confections. Abella can't imagine a world without sugar. The previous emperor, a man with the charm of a cold turnip and a brain soaked in diet propaganda, had banned sweets, claiming they made people obese. He'd championed his warped idea of beauty, skin and bones elegance, what he called divine delicacy. Belle praises Abella, who accepts it with a smug little grin. But reality knocks. They have only a few days to prepare, bake everything, get their dresses in order, clean the shop, and maybe clean their souls if they have time. Abella sighs. Before they tackle the Empire, they'll have to tackle the mess in her house. Cut to poor Derek, cleaning with the passion of a man scrubbing away both dust and emotional damage. He asks Amon stands nearby to help with the dishes. He watches Derek with a mischievous smile and casually remarks that Derek looks like he's having too much fun. Then, just to spice things up, he jokes that even if he were to leave someday, he'd make sure Derek stays behind as permanent cleaning staff. Derek makes a face that he will rather like to die on the spot. Then comes Abella rushing in like a sugar-charged whirlwind. The sight of her bounding toward him fills Amon with a strange warmth. She's all excitement and sparkle, practically bouncing with joy. She declares she's going to the Imperial Palace. Amon, however, doesn't look particularly thrilled. Because when the Empire calls, it's never just for tea. Seeing Amon's stunned reaction, Abella feels a flicker of guilt. She had only meant to tease him a little, maybe make him a tiny bit jealous just for fun, but she definitely didn't expect him to look like someone had canceled his birthday and eaten his last cookie. She quickly tells him not to look so heartbroken, reminding him that his cafe will surely gain just as much attention soon, if not more. Just then, Derek arrives like a dependable emotional support sidekick, trying to cool the awkward tension in the room. He congratulates Abella warmly, saying it's no small thing to get a personal invitation from the Imperial Palace. He practically drags Amon inside, declaring that this calls for a celebration and he'll make some coffee. Inside, Derek turns to Amon with a serious expression. He reminds him to keep a normal face and not let his emotions show too much. The Imperial Palace is known for its grace and grandeur, and Abella seems truly excited about this opportunity. Amon nods, but there's still something bothering him. Yes, Abella's desserts are delicious, borderline addictive, but why did they invite her this soon? It feels too sudden, too targeted, too suspicious. Derek, always the voice of reason, and occasionally sarcasm, tells him not to forget to smile. But maybe it's safer if Amon doesn't smile at all. His version of happy looks more like he's planning a robbery. Abella is sitting there patiently, waiting for them. They hand her a cup of coffee and apologize for the delay. Derek cheerfully informs her it's a cafe latte, her favorite, and she thanks him with a grin. Amon, doing his best to seem unaffected, says they'd like to try the desserts she plans to bring to the Imperial Palace. Abella assures them they'll get the full tasting experience later. For now, she sips her latte so good it makes her want to cry and lets her mind wander. She starts to wonder where exactly Amon and Derek are from. They're clearly talented, oddly polished, and carry an air that doesn't quite match their surroundings. Something about them feels off, like they're keeping a secret. But she's too excited to care right now. She's going to the Imperial Palace. Meanwhile, at that very palace, Prince Bien remarks that it's a lovely day. He tells the butler to invite the little princess out for some fresh air. He then asks if Abella accepted the invitation. The butler confirms she did, and she'll be attending. Bien seems genuinely pleased. His mother and sisters will be thrilled. The butler, ever formal, comments that no one would dare reject an invitation from the Imperial family. Bien raises an eyebrow. He knows better. People might not refuse out loud, but behind his back, it's a different story. The butler hopes the prince enjoys the party. Bien muses quietly that not everyone judges him by his appearance. He's secretly hopeful that Abella won't either. Then he laughs bitterly, admitting the odds of that happening are depressingly low.